Bonjour, and welcome to French 1 with Mr. McCoy. This is lesson 28, dedicated to the French education system. Now, I don't presume to turn you into experts on this by means of this 8-minute video, okay? But I do have a couple of objectives for this lesson. Those objectives would be that by the end of this lesson, you would have a basic understanding of the different schools that make up, the sequence of schools that make up the French education system. You know a little bit about the different grades found in each system. You'll understand in basic terms the way students are evaluated in the French system, and also how students end up getting into or not getting into university. Okay, so again, just a couple basic, the basic concepts, fundamental understanding, just to give you a basic familiarity with this system. Okay, so ideally also, after having watched this video, you'll be able to make a few statements, comparisons, contrasts between the French and American systems. You'll be able to identify a few ways in which our system and theirs are similar, and also a few ways in which they're different. Okay, so again, let's talk about the different schools that make up the sequence. Okay, so again, we're going to start with l'école maternelle. Okay, l'école maternelle, where students go before they go to l'école primaire. L'école primaire. Okay, that's going to be our primary school. Okay, I'm not going to tell you about the different grades. I'm not really that concerned about that. French kids do typically start at l'école primaire at the age of about 5 or 6. Okay, and in France it's made up of 5 grades. Okay, I'm not really concerned about you learning the names of those grades. Okay, so l'école maternelle, like a preschool. L'école primaire, a primary school. Okay. Now you know the general term for a teacher by now, le professeur, okay, or un professeur. At the level of the école primaire, we refer to the teachers as un instituteur or une institutrice. Okay, so a male primary school teacher would be un instituteur, a female primary school teacher, une institutrice. Okay. So if kids start primary school at about 5, they should get to le collège at about 10 or 11 years of age. Okay, so le collège, roughly similar, roughly equivalent to our middle school. Okay, le collège. Now I do want you to be familiar with the different grades. Okay, that students or that make up le collège. So it starts with sixième, then cinquième, quatrième, troisième. Okay, sixième, cinquième, quatrième, troisième. Okay, so whereas here in the United States we count like in increasing order as you go through the grades. In French, it actually goes the other way. Okay, sixième we abbreviate like this: sixième, cinquième, quatrième, troisième. Okay, so we have 4 grades at the collège. Okay, 4 grades. And after le collège, it's on to le lycée. Le lycée. Okay? Le lycée. Now we have 3 grade levels at the lycée. We have seconde, pronounce the G here. Seconde, followed by première, and terminale. Okay? Seconde, première, terminale. Okay? And again, you have the abbreviations. Okay? So, once students get up into high school, start thinking about the end of cycle exam called le baccalauréat. Le baccalauréat, okay, or le bac for short. Okay. Now, what you need to know is that as students kind of move through their secondary school, middle school, and high school, they do end up getting oriented toward certain tracks or fields of study. Some might be more geared toward literature, languages, others toward math, others toward economics, and so forth. Okay, so they do get on different tracks, and then taking different versions of the baccalaureate. Okay, when they finish or the end of their terminale school year. Okay, what you should know is that in order to get it into a public university in France, a student needs to pass the baccalaureate. Okay. A very demanding, stressful exam. covers all the different topics that the students study. There's both oral aspects and written aspects to the exam. Quite a stressful thing for French students. Okay, they don't necessarily need that to finish high school, so to speak, but they do need that to get into college. And you should also know that public universities in France are subsidized by the government. So once a student does earn his baccalauréat, okay, can typically get into a public university, okay, without paying tuition and whatnot. Okay, so that's for the lycée. Lycée. Now you might want to talk about also how students are evaluated. Okay. Now we talked about, you guys know by now the different matières, les mathématiques, le français, l'anglais, la chimie, la physique. Okay. At first, in each one of these courses, or in each test or paper, homework assignment, the students are typically graded on a scale of 20 points, 0 to 20. Okay. Unlike ours, of course, 0 to 100. Okay. And we evaluate on a scale of 0 to 20, and 10 out of 20 is considered passing. Okay, in the French system, we're talking about to pass or have a passing score is avoir la moyenne, to have the moyenne. Okay. So, for example, if you got 11 out of 20 on your test, you say j'ai eu la moyenne, I passed. J'ai eu la moyenne. Or on the on the contrary, if you had, for example, 8 out of 20, je n'ai pas eu la moyenne. Je n'ai pas eu la moyenne. I didn't pass. Okay. So again, it's a 20-point scale. As far as passing from one grade to the next, it's a little bit different again from our system. Okay, we have the different matières, different subjects, as you know, and students will have a moyenne, an average, une moyenne, not only for each individual class, but also for all the classes put together. Now, you may imagine the most important classes in the French system will be mathématiques and français. Les mathématiques et le français. Those will have, or each subject will have a coefficient. For example, math and French will be the most important, the highest coefficient, typically a 5. Okay. The least important, so to speak, might be gym, might have a coefficient of 2, for example. So at the end of a school year, a student would have a moyenne, or an average, for each class. Okay. Then each of those classes would have a particular coefficient. Okay. For example, 5, 4, 3, or 2, by which that moyenne would be multiplied. Okay. So we give more weight to French and math, not so much to, for example, chemistry or history, and going on down the line to maybe English, like coefficient 3, or gym coefficient 2. Okay, so each one would have a coefficient, they'd be multiplied, and then an overall average would be calculated to determine whether or not the student would pass into the next grade. Okay, so for the baccalaureate also, it would work the same way. Okay, the student would be tested on every subject. Okay, and each subject has a different coefficient. You'd have a score for the subject that will be multiplied by a coefficient. Okay, they give a product. Okay, you add up those and then divide by some total to give an overall average, which would determine whether or not the student passed the baccalaureate. Again, it would take, if you divide it all out, it would be the same thing to 10 over 20. If it was equivalent to 10 over 20 overall, it will be passing. Okay, and again, that would determine whether or not a student gets into public university. Okay, so again, that should give you a basic understanding of the different schools, the grade levels, the grading, and getting into college. We'll go into this, we'll talk about this in class a little bit more. Maybe watch a movie or two, we get to see this, see how this works out. But again, ask me if you have any questions. Something we can discuss in class. Merci et au revoir.